in shelters due to owner problems like divorce or allergies?
That's great, Sassy, but what about the fire?
There is no fire? You're just messing with our heads?
Sassy!
Sassy is brought to you by the Ad Council and the ShelterPetProject.org. Remember, adopt.
It's time to shoot the rock. This is the Rock Castle Gun Show on ESPN 102.7 FM, AM 1450, AM 1230, and streaming live on ESPNKY.com. Your weekly double-barrel dose of the biggest names, best products, and most intriguing topics in the world of firearms. Brought to you by Hilux Optics, Swagger by Pods, Shoot with Confidence, J&K Used Cars on the Bypass, and Mohawk Outdoors. In pursuit of liberty, justice, and all things guns. Here are your hosts, Nick and Nate Noble.
Hey, welcome back to the Rock Castle Gun Show, ESPN Radio 1027.com, ESPNKY.com. You can still get our link there. Got the iTunes podcast, Kicking It. What is that? What
118.
118. And you got Nick and Nate Noble, owners and proprietors, Rock Castle Shooting Center. The greatest places on earth to shoot, we believe. And right here, South Central Kentucky, one of the premier shooting ranges in the world. Exit 48, I-65. And we got our own radio show on ESPN talking about guns, gear, all the cool things, all the cool kids in the shooting sports. And we bring it to you every Thursday night. Nick, you were just the host of the show before us.
Yeah, it was really cool. There's a really, and this is also a podcast. If you go to ESPN Radio 102.7.com, you listen to Southern Kentucky Outdoors. All you hunters and huntresses, you need to get out there and listen to that.
People.
And fisher people. Fishermen. It was a great show. Got to sit in as a guest host. That was really fun. But, if you're into hunting, there's some incredible things. Josh Honeycutt with Real Tree Outdoors. This guy knows more about deer hunting than anybody I've ever met. It's really cool. Fishing things. So really check out Southern Kentucky Outdoors anytime you get here on ESPN Radio. It comes on right before us, so you could tune in an hour early and get a double dose of everything outdoors, competitive shooting, guns, and hunting and fishing. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, many of you are listening to us live. If you go to ESPN Radio 1027.com or ESPNKY.com, you can listen to us live every Wednesday night, 6, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. And we got a good show lined up, man. We have legends in the shooting world coming on the show. Actually, they're interviews that we got to do at the NRA annual meetings in Indianapolis at the convention there. Great time. We're going to talk about that a lot tonight because there's a lot of cool things going on.
Yeah, this last weekend we were lucky enough to go to the NRA annual meetings up in Indianapolis, Indiana. That's where all the membership comes. It's the big board meeting for the NRA Board of Directors. But it's a giant convention. It's a big gun show. It's similar to SHOT Show, but it's actually open to every NRA member, where SHOT Show is really restricted to just people within the firearms industry that are in the business. It's not open to the public. The NRA show is actually open to the public. As long as you're an NRA member, you can get there, and all the guns and gear and everything that's out there, all the big companies have got big booths, and it was really fun to kind of kick around and see everybody.
Yeah, we have so many friends in the firearms industry, and we have them on the show week after week after week, 118 times 3, do the math on that. We pretty much saw all those people there at the show.
Yeah.
Mark Ozgeist, he'll be coming on the show in the next couple of weeks. We got to talk to him, one of the heroes from Benghazi, 13 Hours at the book, 13 Hours in Benghazi. All of our pro shooting friends, all the people that wear the Rock Castle jersey, love to have all those people. We have some great shooters on staff for Rock Castle, spreading the good news of Rock Castle all over the country, and ambassadors. We want to thank those folks. There's a ton of them. Diane and Ryan Muller, the Mazio kids, and gosh, there's so many of them.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun to see all those folks and rub elbows. But you know what? One of my favorite things about the NRA show is I say that the people at that show, at the annual meetings, are direct lineage to what made America great. Back in April 19th, the first shot that went off in the Revolutionary War. These people are all lineage, and I'm not saying that they're genetically connected, because they come from all races, creeds, religions, but these people are gun-loving, freedom-loving Americans, and they're up there at this show, and they're all exercising their Second Amendment rights, their support for the Second Amendment, which is what the NRA is all about. And So it was really cool to be with a bunch of true Americans of all race, religion, and creed, men and females, kids and youth and old folks, and everybody is up there at the NRA convention, really exercising that Second Amendment muscle. So it was pretty cool.
Yeah, it's pretty neat. And the gun companies, I mean, this is the time where most of the gun companies announce their new products. And some of the booths were so busy, I didn't get to see all the new products, but we're going to have these people on throughout the course of the next few months on the Rockcastle Gun Show, talk about all the new stuff that was coming out. I think the big thing, there's a lot of movement in ammunition, a lot of movement in long range shooting capabilities and firearms, and ton of new handgun stuff around. I mean, we've had a lot of those on. Stoker had their new pistol out there, their new concealed carry, as well as Mossberg, and got to hang out with the STI folks and all the great guns they're bringing out. The new staccato carry that was up for handgun of the year. All three of those were actually up for handgun of the year in the Industry Choice Awards. And man,
it was fun. You know, one of my favorite parts of the NRA annual meetings was being on there. And 6 Hour, who's just a monster of a company doing incredible products, but they had this ginormous, when I'm talking ginormous, I'm saying this billboard in their booth was probably about 90 feet wide, probably about 10 feet tall, and it had a shooter up close shooting that SIG 365, and it had all the awards it won. And the second big award on there was the Industry Choice Awards, the 2018 winner of the Industry Choice Awards Pistol of the Year, and that was kind of cool.
It's pretty neat to see the stuff we do at Rockcastle end up in mass, you know, for all the world to see at the SHOT Show and at the NRA annual meetings and convention. Man, celebrities abound. They were everywhere. I mean, you name it. I think I saw Lou Ferrigno, the Hulk, there. It was pretty cool.
Yeah.
There's a lot of celebrities walking around that you don't get to see. A lot of singers. I mean, Alan Jackson did a huge concert for the NRA annual meetings that we got to go to.
Yeah, and we got to hang out with Chuck Norris at the Glock booth. I mean, there was people waiting in line for like
6
hours to actually get Chuck Norris's autograph, and that was pretty cool. And, you know, Friday was a tough day for Indianapolis in terms of traffic and everything else, because the President of the United States and Vice President Pence were there speaking at the annual meetings, and it was incredible to hear that piped into the thing. And I think we'd be remiss in talking about the NRA. If anybody's following the NRA right now, there's a bunch of stuff in the news, and there's some turmoil in the NRA.
Yeah, there's some turmoil, and nobody really knows how it's going to shake out yet. The thing I take confidence in when I look around and see the board of directors, I mean, there are some really, really good people that are very Second Amendment active. You know, the old guard, it may have been people put there for political reasons. It may have been people put there for celebrity reasons, and we won't name any names on who those people are. But, you know, true advocates. The board is made up with a lot more true advocates than it used to. You got Dwayne Liptak from Magpul Industries, Julie Golub. I mean, you got Wellesley, just got second VP on there. There's some really good folks. Graham Hill, we had him on the show before we went last week. And Graham, I mean, you know, you want to talk about people like Graham. He doesn't not know any gun problem in the entire nation. You can pick any state. What's going on in Wisconsin, and he'll tell you all the enemies of the Second Amendment, and what's happening in the courts, and what's happening with legislation and townships, and if we keep people like that in the know at the helm, I think we're going to be in good shape. Now they're going to have to air their dirty laundry and get rid of whatever this is going on. And I think a lot of that, as we met that great guy in the bar, Whit.
Yeah, one of their attorneys. So.
One of the attorneys for the board. You know, and I think part of the biggest problem with them right now is they're behind enemy lines, man. They're chartered in New York, and they're getting fought left and right by one of the most anti-gun governors on the planet. So
yeah, so there's no time. This is not the time to abandon the NRA. It's the only organization in the country that has the size and can really fight for our gun rights. So it's a big deal. So we're going to bring on some guests here in a little bit that we interviewed live at the NRA annual meetings up in Indianapolis over the weekend. One of the coolest ones, and we'll get to her shortly, but outside of Michael Phelps, and everybody who knows who Michael Phelps is, he's a swimmer that's won more gold medals and medals than anybody in the history of the Olympics. Outside of Michael, Kim Rhode has won more medals in the Olympics than any person in the
Consecutive
history.
years.
And she's won a medal in 5 consecutive Olympics. Six consecutive Olympics.
She's won a medal on 5 in the Olympics on 5 continents.
Yeah.
I mean, that's incredible. So we got a great interview with her. We did a great interview with Burris Optics. I mean, people know Burris rifle scopes and binoculars and all that. We walk in the booth and they got archery sights. Are you kidding me? And they're cool. We're gonna talk
range
about that.
finding archery sights. So that is really cool. I can't wait to test those out this coming hunting season. And then we'll go to our great friends at Barrett Rifles, Barrett Firearms. They were going to talk about that Fieldcraft rifle and a bunch of some big contracts that they just won for the U.S.
Yeah,
government.
they got the Fieldcraft hunting rifle. They got the Rec 7, the Rec 10, the MRAD, all these guns and the story behind them. And one of the most iconic firearm companies in the world. I mean, ever. Literally. So
yeah,
that's going to be a good show.
It's going to be great. So before we get back and go to the NRA live from the NRA over the weekend, we'll talk about a little bit of things that are going on at Rockcastle Shooting Center. We got a lot of things happening. Last weekend we had a big motocross race. It was a huge success. Had riders from all over the country doing ATVs and side-by-sides. That was big. We also hosted our USPSA pistol match. And don't forget that if you're into pistol, want to get into competitive pistol shooting, we have a monthly match the 4th Saturday of every month, and you can come up there. If you don't have the gear, contact Nick and Nate here at Rockcastle, and we'll help you figure that out. We'll loan you some gear, but at least come up and check it out. It's a really great way to jump into competitive shooting.
We have new shooters every month that have never shot a competitive match before, and they have a blast. Eric Roscoe, one of our good friends, he came in and shot first time ever. And Eric can shoot a gun, and he wanted to try some competition wheels on, and he did really well. Don't be afraid. They're the most helpful, friendly, fun people to be around for a day of shooting on the range. And, you know, most Saturdays are beautiful weather. We're getting into the hot season now, so they're going to get warmer and warmer, but I think the rain may be a little bit over. But, yeah, USPSA is a great place to start.
This weekend coming up, we have the Muddy Mammoth. Now, this isn't a shooting competition, just a 5K mud run with all kinds of crazy obstacles. Houchins Industries right here in Bowling Green, Kentucky. Relay for Life is going to be the big benefactor of all these runners coming up to Rockcastle and doing mud runs, mud races, and crazy obstacles going through into trenches and swimming through mud.
Oh, it's going to be muddy, too. They got 2 days of rain
Constantina
coming.
wire and all kinds of stuff.
Beautiful. It's going to rain pretty much tomorrow, Friday, and Saturday, so the Muddy Mammoth ought to be awesome. For that. Yeah,
and then we've got the Glock Shooting Sports Foundation the first weekend in June. The second weekend in June, we've got the Rockcastle 3-man 3-gun. The third weekend in June, we've got the gas gun long-range precision rifle match. Hey, welcome back to the ESPN Rockcastle Gun Show live from the NRA annual meetings. It's been great, man. Nick and Nate here, your hosts. Seeing all the big names in the business, all the great celebrities and pro shooters and Olympians and all kinds of neat stuff. So it's been great to be on the show floor, Nate. You know, get to see. You know, I always say that the NRA, the folks in the NRA, are descendants of what made America great at the very, very beginning. I'm not talking about, because there's people from every religion and creed and race and everything right here, but this is all about the Second Amendment, and that's what really this country was founded on. And I think that these people that at this show are truly the offshoots of the original, you know, things that started this country, made it great.
Yeah, I mean, you got the lifeblood of America, man, woman, child. They're all here. It is an awesome atmosphere and literally the best shooters in the world. I can tell you this show is one for the record books, and our next guest, and we're staying in the Beretta booth. It's a beautiful booth. Beretta has incredible booths in all places we go to. But when you get in here, we found one lady here for the record books, literally. I mean, she's got probably more records. It would take us the entire radio show to go through everything she's done, but talk about descendants. I mean, rich family history. Her, I'll just go ahead and say Kim Rhode, probably arguably the best skeet trap, double trap shooter that's ever lived, is with us here in the booth. And welcome to the Rockcastle Gun Show.
Man, I swear I don't think my hat's going to fit fit after an introduction like that. And it's awesome to be here. It's a pleasure. I mean, especially among friends. I mean, we're all, supporting the Second Amendment. I mean, that's why we're here at the NRA show, and it's good to be amongst family.
Yeah, so Kim, you, incredible. You started shooting at 10 years old. 13, you won your first national championship. And you've never stopped. I mean, you've been to the Olympics 6 times. Correct me if I'm wrong on all this stuff.
No, you're right.
3 golds, a silver, 2 bronze. I was reading through some of this stuff. You have, in 2012, the first American athlete, male or female, to win an Olympic medal in 5 consecutive games.
6 now.
6 now.
6 consecutive games.
6 consecutive games.
Yeah, 6 consecutive games. And I just got back from Acapulco, won a gold there, and also won a gold in the Allen World Cup. So I'm still, competing, still going for my dream, which is hopefully another Olympic medal in 2020 in Tokyo. And at the end of the day, it's about USA bringing home those medals and seeing that American flag go to the top of the pole and hearing that national anthem. It gets me every time. And I just hope to continue doing what I love. And I feel so fortunate.
So your dad is your coach, right? Or still your coach, or was your coach?
Yeah, my father is my coach. Shooting was something that was passed down generationally in my family. My grandfather was big into the hounds and the outdoors and the hunting. And it was something that my dad taught my mom and my mom and dad taught me. And getting ready for one of the local hunts. I think it was dove hunting in Yuma, every September 1st. And I was going in to Sprigs and, entering all the different competitions and stuff at the time. And somebody said, you're pretty good. Why don't you try the club shoot? And then it was the state shoot, and it just kind of kept progressing from there. And before I knew it, I was going to my first Olympics at 16 in Atlanta. And now you have Atlanta, Sydney, Athens, Beijing, London, Rio, and hopefully Tokyo. So we'll see what happens.
Kim, that's incredible. I mean, you've been at the top of your game for a long, long time. How do you continue to stay at the top of the game? As you've been there, you've done that, you've got so much experience. How's your practice regimen maybe changed the older that you've gotten versus when you were a teenager? I mean, how do you stay at the top of the game to be an elite athlete like you are?
Well, to stay at the top, the easy answer is just you just don't miss. But,
Yeah.
But the reality is, everybody misses. I mean, the trick is not to miss when it counts the most. So in training, we do a lot of repetition, a lot of drills, a lot of trying to make it like walking, putting ourselves in different conditions, whether it be, windy days or rainy days, to prepare yourself, because we're really put out in the elements. And essentially, we make it like walking. When you walk down the street, you don't think right, left, you just do it. And it's the same in shooting. We don't think about stance or leads or hold points. We're able to rather focus on ourselves, calming ourselves down. And when you're in that moment, just doing the very best you can and enjoying it for what it is, a sport. And hopefully all the stars align and you're able to bring home a medal.
Yeah, that's really cool. Well, what advice would you give for some younger shooters or anybody? I'm 49 years old. For somebody that's shot a little bit of trap and skeet, but regardless of what level they are, any advice on how they can increase and get better at the game?
Well, I think one of the best advice I could give to a seasoned shooter or somebody who's shot a little bit is, you know what your weak stations are, or your tougher birds are, whether it be a hard right or hard left in trap, or maybe that straightaway in some people's cases, or in skeet if it's the high 2 or a low 6, or maybe doubles on 4 reverse pair. At the end of the day, you know yourself best, and so you have to be honest with yourself and realize that, hey, look, I may not look the greatest out there. I may miss a few in front of the guys out at the range, but I need to practice this station. I got to face my fears, realize this is the issue that I have, and really drill it to where you get it. And go over and over again to where you're comfortable with it, and it's no longer an issue before you go to a match. Because when you step out on that line and you're in that competition, if you have any doubt or any fear of any one target, it's going to eat you alive in the competition, in the match. So eliminating those fears, doing the drills, shooting around doesn't really do you very much good. It's okay to do every now and then, but actually practicing 3 in a row, 4 in a row, in my case 15, 25 in a row without missing an individual high. It'll force you to focus, and it'll also force you to pay attention that, hey, this is my 24th one or 15th one, if I miss this, I got to start all over again. So it puts a little pressure on yourself.
Right.
And it's kind of like a mini match, and you start learning how you handle pressure. And at the end of the day, that's what the game is how do you handle that pressure when you're out there on the line? Are you going to crumble, or are you going to blaze through it and succeed and hopefully be successful, which everyone can do.
Right, absolutely. And, you put so much time on the range, and really then it's a battle against yourself, isn't it? To control those emotions and keep that and be able to harness that pressure that you put on yourself. And that's a difficult thing to do, though.
Yeah, you find that there are two types of personalities. Some people, shy away from it, and other people, like myself, love it. I love being in that moment, knowing that this is coming down to the last bird. This is going to determine, for all the marbles if you want it. And so for me, I tend to thrive under that. If you don't tend to be the other personality, then you have a little more work. Not to say you can't do it. It's just how much you're willing to sacrifice and dedicate and put the effort in, because everyone can be successful. That's the beautiful thing about the sport. We have a long time to do it. There's no shelf life. Right. You can do this sport till you're 80, 90. I mean, at the end of the day, it's just a love of the sport.
Yeah, it's truly a lifetime sport. Kim Rohde's our guest. Michael Phelps and you, who has won the most medals in Olympic history in the United States?
Well, Phelps obviously has more medals. He has more opportunities to win medals. In my sport, and what I was doing in the first couple Olympics, I only had the chance of winning one medal. But as far as consecutive Olympic medals won in Olympics, I'm the only one in the Summer Games to have ever done that in any sport 6 times in a row. So
that is so cool.
We'll make it 7.
Make it 7. So we're standing in the Beretta booth. So I'm sure a lot of our listeners are going to want to understand your equipment. What are you using from an ammunition standpoint, from your firearm standpoint? Could you walk us through some of that?
Yeah, most definitely. So I'm shooting currently a Beretta DT11. It's nothing fancy. It literally was just off the shelf. It wasn't made custom for me. I did have a custom stock made and a foreign, but other than that, it's standard triggers, standard chokes, actually factory chokes, so nothing fancy. What you buy in the gun store is essentially the same.
Itself, that's a big deal. Is
essentially the same gun that I'm shooting. And then I'm shooting a Winchester ammunition, which I've been with Winchester for, forever, since I was 10. I almost said 20 years, but it's 30 years, man. Time is just flying by.
That's right.
But it's been an incredible family to be part of some of the biggest names in the industry backing me. They really helped make me who I am today.
So what Winchester ammunition are you using?
I'm shooting the Winchester International load. It's 7/8 of an ounce, or a 24-gram number 9 for skeet, and I shoot 7.5 for trap. So that's essentially what we're shooting in competition.
Great. Have you ever been in a competition and worried that you're going to get a shell that doesn't go bang?
No, never. That's the beautiful thing. In our sport, if we have something like that, it's a loss. Yeah. So we can't afford to have those mistakes. We can't afford to have our equipment break. So, that's what we're looking for. We're looking for that trust, reliability, that it's going to carry us through again and again through that competition. And that's why you see these larger brands like Beretta, like Winchester, backing the Olympians, because we can't afford to have that mistake. That's a gold medal or nothing moment.
Yeah. So this question is more for me. In one of your Olympics, you shot a 99, which was a new record, and got a gold. What's your lowest score? Is there hope for me?
Oh man, putting it to me here. Well, I'll tell you this: when I started shooting, I hit 8 birds out of 25. So there's hope for everybody.
There's hope for
everybody.
I love it.
Nobody. That's the thing, is that when you start this game, you're not going to be. Don't expect to go out and shoot a 25. If you do, that's awesome. Congratulations. But at the end of the day, we've all been there. We've all shot those low scores. We've all had good matches, bad matches. But that's the beautiful thing, is you keep coming back again and again. It's fun, the camaraderie, the places, the people, the outdoors. It's just very addicting. It's a lot of fun.
So your last tournament was where?
Last tournament was in Allen, Dubai, or Allen, United Arab Emirates.
And you just told us within the next week or two here you're going to Korea?
Yes. So I have South Korea. I have World Championships in Italy. I have Pan American Games in Peru. I have 2 more World Cups, one in South Korea, one in Lahti, Finland.
Wow.
And that's all going to be done before August.
Gee, I mean, Christmas, that's awesome.
So it just gives you an idea of our travel. We've already been to Acapulco, Allen, and we probably have about 4 or 5 more countries to go to.
What's your favorite place in the world to shoot?
One of my favorite places is Italy. I mean, you have good food, the culture, the atmosphere. You know, you get to see all the historic sites, and it's just an amazing place. And I'm a big fan of the pasta. What can I say? Pasta and pizza.
There you go.
And the Beretta family. I mean,
and the Beretta family. I mean, that's, you know, if you look at where some of the best guns in the world are made, and you know, a lot of them are done in this one valley in Italy. And of course, Beretta has been the oldest, 500 years old and counting. So it's incredible to be part of such an incredible organization.
Yeah. Thank you for taking time with us on the Rock Castle Gun Show on ESPN Radio. You know, you're arguably the best Olympic athlete of all time, so it's an honor to have you on. Can you give us an estimate on how many rounds you shoot a year?
I don't know a year, but I average between 500 and 1,000 rounds a day, 7 days a week, and they have me at somewhere over 3 million, 4 million rounds in my life. Just a little bit of shooting.
That's incredible. Yeah.
So that's it. I'm glad we got to talk to you. Glad we got to catch up with you. Thank you for coming on the Rock Castle Gun Show. We're going to go pay some sponsors, and we'll be right back. You're listening to Rock Castle Gun Show, ESPN Radio, 1027.com. Thank you.
I hope that was okay.
That was awesome.
It was an honor, is what it was. Hey, we're making our way around the show at the NRA annual meetings. It's Nick Noble, your host of Rock Castle Gun Show here on ESPN Radio 102.7, and ran into an old friend here. We're in the Burris booth. We got Trapper Swanson, who's no stranger to Rock Castle Shooting Center, has been there many, many years, is one of the, you know, kind of the, what I call the old graybeards of the 3-gun world that we're trying to talk him to get back in. We haven't seen him in a while, but really cool things happening over here. Trapper, it's good to see you again. How come we haven't seen you at Rock Castle lately?
I got tired of shooting and started to go do more hunting, and I enjoy hunting a lot more.
Yeah, well, you know, hunting is a cool thing, and as a matter of fact, what caught my eye here in the Burris booth is you're holding in your hands a compound bow with the new Burris sight and the whole sighting system called Oracle, and it intrigues me because I'm a big bow hunter and I love to do it, but I've never seen anything like this. Tell us about this Oracle sight on this Matthews bow that you're holding.
Well, basically what we did was we took the Eliminator 3 laser range-finding rifle scope and we made it into a bow sight. So you have a laser range-finding bow sight that works, and just like you would on the rifle end, you've got a laser that shoots out that will give you the distance to your target, and then it will give you your aiming point. And all this is done via the ballistic computer that's in the sight itself, just like you would for a rifle. You tell it your arrow speed, or you shoot 3 groups, 20, 30, and 40, and it calibrates your arrow speed and your target distance, and it will tell you where, if you're shooting at something at 65 yards, it tells you where that 65-yard pin would be based on your groupings at 20, 30, and 40, so that you don't have to guess how far away an animal is or which pin do I need to hold high or low or whatever.
Yeah, so this thing, I'm going to put a picture up on our website and on Instagram, and when you guys are listening to the show, you can go over to it. But so it's a vertical bar that has LED lights, tiny little LED lights. So if I understand you correctly, we're going to get our 0 at 20 yards with whatever arrows we're shooting. Is that correct?
That's
so
correct.
And then after we know where we are at 20, then we're going to shoot some more groups at 30 and 40, and you can adjust that LED light based on those parameters. Is that right?
Yeah, you'll zero the bow mechanically using the bow sight at 20, and then once you do that, you'll sight again at 30 and 40. There's some little up and down arrows that you will adjust the LED so that the light actually is where your group is at, and that's how you get. The more accurate you are with placement of that light, of course, the better off the sight's going to tell you where your dot is for your next target. Once you do it 20, 30, and 40, you're done. You only need 3 good solid 0 points, preferably with 10 yards between them, and that's it.
That's cool. So it's the Oracle range-finding archery sight. What's that, the proper name?
The Oracle bow sight, yeah, laser range-finding bow sight. The name of it is the Oracle.
Okay, so we're here in the Burris booth talking about this Oracle sight. What's the MSRP? What's the retail on something like this?
MSRP, I believe, is $7.99. If you look around, you can find it for less than that, but $7.99, and considering the fact that you're getting a laser rangefinder and a very good quality target sight out of it.
Yeah, it's really cool. So we ranged something that I think was about 90 yards, and it was beyond the the ability of your sight. So it's telling you, it actually flashes and tells you that I don't have a pin for that.
Yeah, there's a couple of fail-safes in it. One is that if you range something that's beyond the sight's capability to give you a pin, the bottom cluster of 3 or 4 LEDs will light up, and it's telling you need to get closer. You're too far. I don't have a pin to give you. One of the other fail-safes in it is that if the laser can't get through brush or rain or fog, it will default and give you all of your pins, your 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, and then you resort to being old school and deciding, okay, well, that deer's 33 yards, and I'm going to put my 30-yard pin high on it and just shoot it like I would if I were shooting a bunch of pins. The other default in it is if your battery dies, your 20-yard pin is actually a static fiber optic that you will always have a 20-yard pin to be able to use, even if your battery dies. So your hunt's not over.
That's awesome. So now I know how to get you back to Rock Castle Shooting Center. I think, Trapper, you need to come bring this Oracle, maybe a couple of them, or I'm going to have one by then, but bring this Oracle out to Rock Castle this fall. Starting September 1st, we go into an incredible bow season at Rock Castle Shooting Center. We've got great whitetail genetics. They'll be all in the velvet, and that'll be a fun time to test out this site.
You find me a nice big old mossy horn like you shot and tie it to a tree, and I'll be out there.
All right, Trapper Swanson, great friend of Rock Castle Shooting Center. We're on ESPN Radio talking guns at the NRA annual meetings. It's always cool to be here with all these gun-loving Americans. God bless America. And let's go see who else we can find on the show floor.
All right, we are back, the Rock Castle Gun Show, live from the floor of the convention of the NRA annual meetings, National Rifle Association annual meetings in Indianapolis. This is one of our favorite shows all year, and Nick and I are just jamming around the convention center, talking to our friends in the industry and seeing some of the cool new products they got out. And one of our first stops is always going to be Barrett Firearms out of Murfreesboro, Tennessee. Our good friends. They've been friends of Rock Castle for a long time. We do a lot of stuff with Barrett. We love to shoot their 50 cal, the Barrett 50. You should see the people in this booth taking pictures with the 50 caliber rifle, because it's one of the most iconic firearms ever made. I mean, literally one of the most, the Army voted it one of the weapons, the top 50 best or top weapons that changed the Army forever. The military. And I'm in the booth right now with Mountie Miser. He's the national sales manager from Barrett, and they got a lot of new stuff out. And one of the things I want to focus on when we come in here, Mountie, is the Fieldcraft rifle. It's not a new thing for Barrett, but it's pretty new. And this is one of the areas you guys have really jumped into. And I'm seeing a lot of press. I'm seeing a lot of hunts filmed in Africa and all over the place with this Fieldcraft rifle. Let's talk about it a little bit. Tell me what's the basis of this thing?
Well, it's interesting because Chris Barrett always wanted the best lightweight hunting pack rifle that he could find, and he tried a lot of our colleagues in the industry, and there's a lot of good rifles in the industry, but Chris couldn't find that perfect rifle, so he decided to build it, and that's where this gun stemmed from. It's interesting when you're talking about our 50 caliber. It's a 34-pound gun before the QDL suppressor, before the 10-round magazine is loaded. In contrast, this is a 5-pound gun. If you hold, our average weight on our short-action Fieldcrafts are 5 pounds. Average weight of the long actions are 6 pounds. And what builds this into this weight are the contour of the barrels and the hand-laid carbon fiber stocks, not to mention a blind box magazine where you don't have to deal with detachable mags, to floor plates, etc. But if we start back to front of this gun, you'll notice again, hand-laid carbon fiber stocks. All of these stocks are hand-laid. Every barrel in action is hand-bedded, hand-fitted to its stock. It's not a slave-bedded process. This gun is literally bedded 180 degrees contact from the boat shroud to the end of the fore-end, which enables us to use lighter contoured barrels. That's why the guns are so light. All of the guns are shoulder-fired. We don't mount our guns in a rig and let a machine shoot the gun. We want to put the human element into it. That's why we can offer sub-MOA options on every rifle that we offer, is because every gun is test shot. But we shoulder fire to put the human element back into it. All of the receivers are built out of 416 stainless. Obviously, the iconic Barrett barrels and the accuracy that we get from them It's really a cool gun. The gun was voted the gun of the year by Guns and Ammo. We launched the gun in 2017. 3 months later, Guns and Ammo voted it gun of the year. Later that year, Peterson's Publishing voted it the Editor's Choice Award. This year, it's the rifle of the year for SCI. When we went to SCI for the last 2 years at the SCI show and the sheep show, the sheep hunters, of course, they're treading up and down mountains.
Yeah.
They're looking for that 5 to 6 pound gun, and they just fell in love with the guns. It's been very well adapted or adopted. I've been able to firsthand feel it. I just returned from New Zealand on a red stag and a tar hunt. When you're climbing to 6,000 feet up a glacier after a tar, you really appreciate that you've got a 6 pound gun on your back versus a 9 pound gun.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's, the lightweight guns for packing. I know some guys that are going on a sheep hunt, and there's some Wounded Warriors out of Bowling Green that are going on a sheep hunt. They're jumping out of an airplane. This guy has no legs, his one arm. He's jumping out of an airplane with a rifle, and I guarantee you this would be one of those things he'd like to have on his back when he goes out that plane, because the weight of it, it's a beautiful rifle. I see different stock colors, the green, couple different shades of gray. What do you got in the stock options?
Yeah, let's talk about that for a minute. So our standard option would be this option here. It's a charcoal gray with a stainless barrel finish. And just keep in mind also, the receiver and the barrel is 416 stainless. A couple of the areas that we don't produce, this trigger, we partnered with Timney. So this is a custom Timney trigger. The reason I say custom, the receiver of the Fieldcraft is proprietary to Barrett. So Timney had to design a trigger along with our Barrett engineers that would work in the gun. Little things, when you look at the top of the receiver, you'll notice these mount holes here. Your normal mount screw is 6 millimeter. We partnered with Tally. Tally's got a range of lightweight mounts that work with our Fieldcraft. But if you notice, we enlarged the hole to 8 millimeters.
Bigger, yeah.
Another thing we added, and this was something that Ronnie Barrett saw right out of the gate when he and Chris were working on the gun. You notice the third hole here? There's a lot of options for optics for this gun because of eye relief and because of the length of tubes now with scopes.
Yeah.
But this is your standard finish, charcoal gray finish and stainless. But we've also partnered with our channel partners. If you look at these two guns here, this is a Cerakote black and Hunter green stock, or a Hamlet black and a Charlotte black. These are 22-inch threaded guns in 6.5 Creedmoor. This is a RSR exclusive. So any dealer in the country that does business with RSR can order either one of these two guns. Additionally, we did a 24-inch standard finish, again, charcoal gray and stainless steel, 24-inch Creedmoor. That's an exclusive for Lipsy's. So if any dealer in the country deals with Lipsy's, they can order that 24-inch option. And then finally, for our buy groups with Sports Sync, or Sports South, our Sports Sync dealer members, this is an exclusive for Sports Sync. These are also 6.5 Creedmoors in the Hunter green, and a black Cerakote or a 416 stainless finish.
I see.
So these are just some special makeups we made up for our channel partner.
I see we're on the radio, obviously, so you guys can't see how badass this gun is with a suppressor on it. Very cool. I see a number of different calibers. I mean, you guys have really crossed the board on that. It looks pretty much like any hunting round that you want to get into is in this gun.
We offer 9 calibers right now. We are looking at some other options down the road. But right now, in the short action, you can buy it 2 different ways. You can buy the 18-inch threaded, like what this is here, that's got the suppressor on it. And by the way, this is a Barrett suppressor. Our suppressors are super cool. They're made out of titanium, 2-piece welded. Actually, our suppressor was just adopted by SOKY. Yeah. Out of all of the suppressors out in the market. But we offer the 18-inch Fieldcraft threaded in short action or a 21-inch non-threaded in short action. And then in long actions, we don't have a threaded option. They're all 24 inches.
Okay, and then I see I'll just go through some of these. You got the 243, 22, 250, 6.5 Creedmoor, 7mm .8, a 308, 25-06, 270, 30-06, and a 6.5 by 55 Swede. Talking about going and hunting tar, what caliber did you use for the tar?
A caliber that we'll be releasing later in the year. We've already announced it. We announced it at SHOT Show. We will be releasing the 280 Ackley in the fall.
It's just like Barrett Skunk Works, man.
So I built a 280 Ackley to take to New Zealand.
Oh, that's cool. So the Fieldcraft rifles are beautiful. You guys are doing very well with these. I'm seeing them everywhere. I mean, I've got friends that have hunting shows. I've seen Chris and those guys hunting with them in Africa, and I'm sure you filmed your hunt in New Zealand, but it'll be cool to see. What else we got going on? I know you guys have the Rec 7.
Yes, we have the Rec 7s. We have the flyweights, the DIs, direct impingement, piston guns, and, of course, our Rec 7 pistol with the pistol brace that's getting a lot of attention. We also have our new SOKY gun, the MRAD in 300 Norma Mag. This gun was just selected through a pretty arduous selection process to be chosen as a preferred sniper rifle platform for the U.S. Armed Forces, which we're real proud about that.
Yeah, that's a big deal. I mean, there's a lot of guns, and I know that we've actually been involved in that selection process a few times with Barrett and other companies testing at Rockcastle, and then to see the amount of engineering that goes into that process and the time that it takes to go through it, and then bringing the military in to do their testing, it's crazy.
It's actually exciting for us because it's the first time a father and a son has had contracts with the U.S. Armed Forces simultaneously.
That's amazing.
So you think about it, Ronnie designed the first shoulder-fired 50 BMG and the 82A1. It was adopted by our armed forces. Later on, the armed forces wanted to be able to shoot the 82A1 suppress, so the gun was redesigned to the M107A1, and now Chris has just been able to secure the military contracts with the MRAD.
So you guys got suppressors in contracts, you got the MRAD in contracts, you got the Barrett 50s. I'm sure you're working on other ones with the other rifles, but let's go back to the Rec 7 for a second. We kind of passed over that, but it's the typical lightest AR platform, 5.56 platform. It's the modern sporting rifle. It's the AR rifle. So that's a big deal because for a lot of years you guys didn't make that, but you did. I guess it was probably 7 years ago.
2007.
Yeah, 2007. So they're very nice. I mean, you guys in the beginning, I remember I was a rep for Barrett for a while, and in the beginning, a lot of stuff that Barrett was getting for like that rifle and stuff was purchased from other, parts from other companies. But you guys went pretty vertical on that, and you're getting more and more vertical on everything. Like you said, on these Fieldcraft rifles, you put a Timony trigger in it, which is awesome. I mean, there's companies out there that do things like that, like Timony, that make good triggers. So right. It's stupid not to use their parts. But in the beginning, you guys weren't as vertical as you are now. But you're pretty much doing everything now at Barrett, right?
Yeah, it's been an interesting transition over the last 2 or 3 years. Barrett, as we all know, Barrett is a relatively young company when you consider some of the gun manufacturers in the industry, 35 years old now. But if you look at the uptick for what we've done, when people think about Barrett, people think about the Barrett DNA as military and defense, but the U.S. commercial market is the largest segment of our sales. So we're excited. I came on board a couple years ago, about 2.5 years ago, and put together a direct sales team for Barrett. We have regional managers now in all parts of the country, and their sole job is to train, educate and train. When you think about Barrett, you think about a 50 BMG. Barrett's more than a 50 BMG. We're lightweight hunting rifles. We're AR-15 solutions at a high end. Our Rec 7s are not for the faint of heart as far as cheap guns. They're not a $400 AR, but there's a reason why they're not a $400 AR. Obviously, the MRAD, or the multi-role adaptive design rifle, and then now we just released our Rec 10. Our Rec 10 is our new battle rifle. We actually had to delay the release of the Rec 10 12 months because of a defense contract that we secured a year ago. I can't mention where,
right?
Just for security reasons, but the Rec 10 right now, the 308 carbine is going to be our next, to quote you, a badass platform to bring to market, and that's here at the show also, and it's just received a lot of attention by the consumers.
Yeah, and it's crazy. A lot of people, we get people coming to Rock Castle all the time. Oh, do you guys have a Barrett 50 cal we can shoot? Well, yeah, we got that, but a lot of people don't know they can actually own a Barrett 50 cal. It's you can buy as a civilian a Barrett 50. It's really just
unless
another
you're a
rifle.
resident of California.
Unless you're a resident of California, which who wants to do that? But you can buy one, and they are expensive, like you said. But the amount of, like, if you look at the 50, you said that thing is what, 40 pounds almost?
Fully loaded, QDL'd out. Yeah, you're looking at 40 pounds.
So you're talking about 40 pounds of metal and steel that has been precision engineered. I mean, it takes a lot of time to build that gun, and it's like buying a car. It's one of those things. It's not a Fiat. It's a Rolls Royce, Brady, and it shoots like it. So, the MRAD, amazing platform because the quick change of the barrels, the things you can do, switching calibers on it, that's a big deal. How many different calibers can you get for the MRAD platform?
Right now, MRAD and I may have to count, it's at least 10 because we just launched because of the DOD contract that we secured in late 2018. We just included the 300 PRC round for MRAD. Now we have the 300 Norma Mag for MRAD. We have the 338 Norma Mag for MRAD. But I tell you, shooting a 6.5 Creedmoor through that MRAD platform is one of the funnest things you'll do at 1,500 yards.
It's like shooting a 22 rifle. It's crazy. Exactly. But, man, amazing. Awesome to get to be in here with you guys year after year at the NRA annual meetings and every other show we go to. We love the family. We love the staff. You guys are always welcome at Rock Castle. Mountie, appreciate the interview. Have a great show, rest of the show.
Yep, I'm looking forward to come up and shooting at your facility as soon as we get through with shows.
And you guys, the Fieldcraft team is coming for the Carnivore Hunter games, man. You guys are fired up about it. If anybody wants to see this Fieldcraft in action, you're going to have to come to the Carnivore Hunter games and watch the Barrett team come out and compete with this Fieldcraft.
Yeah, we've already started training for it. I work very closely with TWRA, Tennessee Wildlife Resources Agency, and they just secured a piece of property. They're building a first-in-class shooting facility for all shooting venues, rifle, pistol, shotgun, archery, etc. That's where they do their wounded warrior hunts. That's where they do their junior or their youth hunts. It's over 3,000 acres. And when I was talking to Ed Carter, the director, I was telling him about the concept of shooting a walking course with rifles, so it would be sporting clays with a rifle.
Yeah.
But they certainly have the property to do it. I laid out a 10-station shooting out of redneck blinds because they have to have the facilities for wounded warriors to hunt. So we put 3 deer silhouettes at each redneck blind, shooting from 54 to 488 yards. And Mitch and I are about to go walk that course so we can train for years.
Sweet.
Because it's the same rolling hills.
Sweet. Yeah, that's going to be awesome. Well, we look forward to having you guys again. You're listening to Rock Castle Gun Show. We're at the NRA annual meetings and exhibits. It's been a wild weekend, crazy. We got a lot of interviews coming out of this show, and we're pleased to be here. Thanks, man, again for your time. Thanks to Bear Firearms. We'll be right back.
That's so much easier than a camera.